Chapter 1. The Heart of the City. Cleverly never slept. Even when the moon sagged low and the clock towers hushed their chimes, the city still breathed in slow, mechanical gasps. The cobblestones pulsed faintly beneath a thin sheen of oil, and the fog shimmered with the soft thrum of pistons and gears. Rumi walked through it like a ghost. She kept her hood low and her footsteps lighter than breath. The streets were full of things that listened, walls that hummed, gutters that whispered, cats with glass eyes. Somewhere above, a dirigible passed, its lanterns blinking through the slit like mournful stars. Inside her pocket, a coin spoke. Left turn, unless you fancy getting boiled alive by that steam valve again. Rumi exhaled through her nose. I was fine last time. You were roasted like a festival chestnut. She flicked the coin between her fingers and caught it again. Whisper's voice buzzed against her skin, dry and unimpressed, part mischievous, part mentor. You're the one who said this was a good idea, she muttered. I said profitable, not safe. There's a distinction. They reached the edge of Brass Market, where the last of the lamps flickered weakly, and beyond it the city sank into deeper fog. Rumi stopped beneath a clock whose hands had long since stopped moving. Someone had painted a heart on its face, bright red against the brass, a bleeding, defiant mark in a place where nothing was supposed to bleed anymore. Her client waited there, a woman in a velvet coat, mask shaped like a moth's wings. Her voice was calm, elegant, and slightly echoing, the kind that came from someone who'd never had to shout for attention. You were late, the woman said. Rumi smiled faintly. Clocks lie in this part of town. The woman didn't smile back. You came highly recommended. They said you could steal anything. Rumi shrugged. Mostly. Good. The woman's gloved hand slipped into her pocket and pulled out a folded slip of parchment. This time, you'll steal something irreplaceable. Rumi unfolded it and froze. A sketch of a human heart, half flesh and half gearwork, detailed with mechanical arteries and a faintly glowing core. Below it, written in fine looping ink, the mayor's heart. Whisper went silent. Rumi glanced up sharply. You mean this metaphorically, right? The woman tilted her head. Not at all. Mayor Edrinval. A good man once, but lately his decisions have turned questionable. He made a deal with someone, something, to replace his mortal heart with a construct of brass and light. Since then, Cleverly has begun to rot from the inside. We need it taken back. Rumi folded the parchment slowly. You're asking me to kill him. The woman's eyes flickered behind her mask. No, only to retrieve what should never have been made. What happens afterward is the city's burden to bear. Rumi took a step back. I don't do murder. Then do mercy, do justice, or do nothing and watch this city turn to rust. The fog pressed closer, wrapping the three of them in a cocoon of dim light and distant machinery. Somewhere far away, a bell tolled once, twice, thrice. Rumi handed the parchment back. Find someone else. I steal to live, not to ruin lives. The woman inclined her head, almost pitying. Even if the life is no longer human? She vanished into the mist before Rumi could answer. That night, Rumi lay on the roof of her attic room, watching the glow from the mayor's mansion on the hill. It pulsed like a heartbeat, steady, mechanical, unnatural. Whisper rolled in her palm, his edge warmed from the contact. "You're thinking about it," he murmured. "I'm not." "You are. You've got that look, like when you found the gilded safe box in the bishop's cellar. This isn't the same." "Isn't it? One locked heart for another." Rumi stared at the fog until it blurred into pale silver. Maybe, but hearts aren't meant to tick. Whisper didn't answer this time. He only hummed, a sound like faint clockwork, soft and endless, echoing in her hand. And above them, the mayor's mansion kept glowing, each flickering of light in perfect rhythm, as if the whole city beat to one borrowed pulse. Chapter 2. The Talking Coin. Rumi awoke to the hiss of steam from the city's lower pipes, winding and twisting like snakes beneath the streets. Dawn hadn't touched Claverley yet, and the fog clung stubbornly to the chimneys and spires. Somewhere below, gears ground with a patient insistence, a lullaby only a city like this could sing. Whisper rolled awake in her palm, jingling faintly. "You're staring at the sky again. Planning to jump?" "I'm thinking," Rumi muttered, flipping him between her fingers. "About the mayor." "About stealing a heart?" "No," she said, tightening her cloak. "About what happens if we don't, and about the why behind it." Whisper hummed, the metallic buzz echoing softly against the wooden beams. Why is always the fun part. You love the why, Rumi. Admit it." She ignored him and slipped quietly down the spiraling stairs of her attic room. The city below was still mostly shadows and mist. Only the higher streets caught the first rays of weak, copper-colored light. She moved with the practiced grace of someone who had learned to navigate alleys where the fog had teeth and street lamps could turn into watchers. The mayor's mansion loomed in the distance, perched like a crown on the highest hill. Its windows glowed faintly from the inside, pale light reflecting off brass piping and polished clockwork. Rumi noted small details she hadn't seen before. A shadow shifting against a curtain that shouldn't have been there. Gears spinning inside the glass of the windows, even when no clockwork should have been moving. Whisper buzzed nervously in her palm. "You're staring at him like he owes you money." "Not exactly. I'm wondering what he's giving for it." "For the heart?" Whisper's voice dropped. "Beats me. Immortality isn't cheap. But let me tell you, there's always a price beyond the coin you see." Rumi crouched on a roof that overlooked the narrow street leading to the mayor's entrance. A faint click echoed from below. A figure emerged from the fog, a young aide, carrying a satchel that clinked with metal. His eyes flickered briefly with a faint, unnatural glow. Rumi froze. "The mayor's already changing things," she murmured. "Already?" Whisper's tone sharpened. "You mean before we even touch his heart?" "Yes," she nodded. "Look at that aide. He's not the same as he was last year. Nervous, eager, almost hollow." Whisper tilted in her palm, curious. "Hollow? Like a coin without a face?" "Exactly." Rumi followed from above as the aide entered the mansion, vanishing into its brass doors. Steam hissed from the rooftop vent. A faint smell of ozone and hot iron mixed with the morning fog. Hours later, she found herself in the alley behind a workshop run by the city's mechanists. Here, pipes snaked out from the buildings like roots of iron and glass. A small, discarded contract fluttered in the wind. She picked it up. It was sealed with wax, marked with the emblem of Claverley, a clawed hand clutching a quill. She broke the seal carefully and unfolded the brittle parchment. Whisper trembled in her palm. "Oh no, that's not good." Rumi scanned the text, eyes narrowing. Lines of legalese promised a heart of brass in exchange for eternal life, with conditions that were invisible to most. The mayor would be bound, step by step, to decisions favoring Claverley, slowly, almost imperceptibly. His compassion, his fairness, his goodwill, all would be corroded to fuel bureaucratic machinery. Whisper clicked sharply. So he isn't bad. Not yet. But this is why they sent someone like me, Rumi said quietly, because no one else would see the corruption until it was too late. The wind picked up, carrying the smell of burning oil from the factories below. Rumi pocketed the contract. The fog seemed thicker here, as if it aware she had uncovered the first seeds of a moral rot that no one else in the city could see yet. "They don't want to kill him," Whisper said. "They want him to choose what will ruin him slowly, and if he lives too long, the city dies with him." Rumi's jaw set. "Then we stop it before he trades the first beat, before he lets them in." She looked toward the mayor's glowing mansion once more. Inside, the wheels of brass turned, the heart of the city ticking faintly through the fog. Somewhere, between the gears and the steam, the first whispers of corruption were already humming a lullaby of inevitability. "And we're supposed to fix it," Whisper muttered, flicking faint sparks into the mist. "Yes," Rumi said, "and I never work alone." She gripped him tighter. The day had only just begun, and Claverley's shadow had already started to stretch. Chapter 3. Gears of a Good Man. Rumi crouched on the ridge above the mayor's mansion, her boots pressed into slick copper shingles. The fog hung low, curling around the brass spires like living smoke. Below, the mansion's mechanical heart thudded faintly, audible even from here, a soft rhythmic pulse that carried an almost human cadence. Whisper rolled in her palm, buzzing softly. "That's either very poetic or very dangerous. I'm going with both." "Both," Rumi confirmed. "If we touch that heart without knowing what it does, we might kill him." "Which is why you're hesitating. I love it when you hesitate. Gives me time to warm up." Rumi ignored him. Her eyes traced the mansion's facade, intricate copper filigree, clockwork birds perched on railings, gears spinning in windows as if the entire structure breathed with its owner's pulse. There were no guards visible yet. Claverley's men always hide behind bureaucratic facades, but subtle movements betrayed their presence. A shadow flickering where it shouldn't, a curtain twitching despite the still air, the faint hiss of steam valves opening and closing without command. "Notice anything odd?" Whisper's metallic murmur cut through the silence. "Yes," Rumi whispered back. "The mayor. Something's off." From her vantage, she observed him pacing inside his study, brass prosthetic gloves catching the morning light. His posture was upright, precise, but his eyes, normally warm, the kind that invited confidence, flickered with unease. He touched a small glowing contraption on his desk, and a faint pulse echoed through the room, syncing with the mechanical rhythm in the mansion itself. "He's already wearing it," Rumi said softly. "That contraption, it's feeding into the heart. He doesn't look ill, but he's changing." Whisper hummed, a low vibration of concern. "So this is the corruption in motion, and here I thought we'd have time to window shop first." Rumi scanned the study's layout through the windows. Brass filigree obscured her view, but she could make out schematics on a desk, charts with intricate symbols and notations in the mayor's handwriting, his usual neat scrawl now spiked with jagged flourishes, hurried, almost frantic. The glow of a small vial caught her eye. She squinted. Liquid lights moving against gravity, trapped inside. "They're feeding him the immortality serum already," she murmured. "Meaning what?" Whisper asked. "Meaning the corruption has started," she said grimly. "Little by little, his decisions will shift. Where he once would have prioritized the city's welfare, now he'll prioritize the machinery, the contracts, the bureaucrats, and eventually, Cleverly." Whisper clicked sharply. Slow motion doom. Delightful. And here I thought today was going to be boring. Rumi crouched lower. She noted the mansion's access points. The main door, heavily reinforced with brass panels and steam valves. Side windows with gears that moved automatically, locking if tampered with. The servant's entrance barred by an enchanted grate, sensing intent. Nothing simple, nothing clean. This wasn't just a heist. It was infiltration of a moving, thinking machine. She pulled out a small folding mirror, angling it to peek into a service corridor below. A mechanical butler passed, its copper joints hissing with each step, gears spinning like hearts in miniature. Its eyes glowed faintly blue, scanning the room. Clearly, the mayor's good intentions were being watched, cataloged, quantified by more than just walls. "Whisper, I need a plan," she murmured. "Plan? Already thinking in plans? I thought we were going for chaos." "Chaos doesn't help when he's still alive. I need to understand how far gone he is and what Cleverly is actually feeding him." Whisper jingled. "First reconnaissance, then optional chaos. My favorite order of operations. What's our approach?" Rumi sketched silently in her notebook. Windows to probe, gears to manipulate, servants' corridors to shadow. "We observe, we record. No touching the heart. Yet." Yet! Oh, the thrill of a delayed finale. I do like the sound of that. Whisper buzzed, vibrating slightly in excitement. The afternoon passed like liquid metal dripping through a sieve. Rumi mapped the mansion, noting each ticking clock, each turning gear, each servant that wasn't quite human. She saw the mayor pause at a brass globe, his gloved hands tracing invisible patterns. He muttered something she couldn't hear. His reflection in the polished copper panels flickered, not quite matching his movements. "He's already divided," she murmured. "Part of him still wants to be good. Part of him is already Cleverly's." Whisper rolled uneasily. "So we wait or we strike, because patience doesn't usually play well with corrupting hearts." Rumi leaned back, eyes narrowing. "We need evidence, proof, that he's being corrupted, that Cleverly's involvement is active. If I act too soon, I risk killing him or tipping him off. If I wait too long, well, he may no longer be the man he once was." A shadow flit across the study window, and Rumi tensed. She traced the outline. No ordinary rat, no normal servant. Something darker, moving with intent. Cleverly's signature. "First contact," Whisper whispered, almost delighted. Rumi's jaw set. "Tomorrow we get closer. We find the serum, the contract, and the first seeds of his corruption. After that, we decide if this heart stays or if we save the man from himself. Whisper rolled with a sharp metallic laugh. Ooh, moral dilemmas. You spoil me, thief. You really do. As the fog crept higher around the mansion, Rumi retreated to her rooftop perch. The city below hissed, groaned, and ticked. But up here, between coppered chimneys and fog-soaked streets, the truth was clear. The mayor's heart was no longer his alone, and somewhere in the mansion, Cleverly was already writing the first lines of the contract he would unknowingly sign. Rumi's hand tightened around Whisper, and we'll be ready when they do.
Chapter 4. Servants of Brass and Steam. The evening fog rolled over Illyria like molten metal, curling around the mansion's copper spires and steam vents. Rumi crouched at the edge of the roof, boots pressed against the slick tiles. Whisper balanced delicately on her wrist. "Do you ever get tired of heights?" Whisper murmured. His metallic voice hummed with amusement. "Do you ever get tired of talking?" Rumi shot back, adjusting the hood of her cloak. "Touché, but consider it practice. Today we creep into a mansion. Tomorrow, who knows? Maybe we steal an emperor's teacup." Rumi ignored him. The servant corridors offered the most direct route inside, a labyrinth of shifting brass panels and steam valves that hid locks from prying eyes. She slipped a small gear-shaped token from her satchel, pressing it against the locking mechanism. The door hissed, and the panel slid open, revealing the dimly lit interior. Inside, the mansion was alive. Pipes hissed, gears spun, and copper conduits snaked along the walls like arteries. Servants moved silently, some human, some mechanical, all with the same meticulous precision. One brushed past her, eyes empty yet alert, carrying a tray of steaming tea that glowed faintly blue. "Watch the eyes," Whisper warned, rolling along her palm. "They're listening even if they're not looking. Little tin devils." Rumi noted. She crouched behind a brass pillar, scanning the study behind. The mayor sat at his desk, gloved hands hovering over the glowing contraption she had seen from the rooftops. Steam hissed from valves, illuminating the intricate wires and conduits connecting to a small pulsating vial. "Serum," Whisper muttered, eyes gleaming. "That's your Cleverly corruption in a nutshell. I'm calling it now. By morning, he'll be quoting regulations in his sleep." Rumi didn't answer. She needed to see the source. Carefully, she followed a corridor toward the servant passages, mapping every valve, every silent observer. She discovered a small room tucked behind a false wall, a workshop filled with blueprints, half-assembled mechanical limbs, and vials of glowing liquid. On the wall, a parchment caught her eye. Immortality contract. Mayor Duvain. Her fingers trembled slightly as she lifted it, scanning the intricate legal language. The contract bound the mayor's mechanical heart to Cleverly's devices, promising longevity in exchange for subtle concessions, control over city infrastructure, gradual obedience to Cleverly's designs, and tacit manipulation of his own ethical decisions. The last clause chilled her. The subject's will shall remain intact only until the heart is fully integrated. After that, all directives are considered aligned with Cleverly interests. Ah, so it's not just a replace the heart and be rich scheme. It's a slow takeover. Cute. Rumi's stomach turned. The mayor wasn't evil. He was being corrupted, slowly, methodically, by the very device he hoped would grant him immortality. Do we intervene now, or collect more evidence? Whisper asked. His tone carried faux innocence, but his metallic hum betrayed concern. We need both, Rumi said, rolling the parchment carefully into her satchel. If we act too soon, he might resist. Too late, and he's lost. First, observation. Then, extraction if necessary. From the workshop, she noticed another detail. Small mechanical birds perched near the ceiling, eyes glowing faintly. They moved with intelligence, recording, relaying, transmitting. Cleverly had made sure even the smallest corner was not unmonitored. Rumi crouched behind a table as the mayor spoke aloud, muttering softly to himself. His words were barely audible, but the weight behind them was unmistakable. I only want to protect the city, only to last long enough to finish what I started. His voice faltered, hope and unease intermingled. Then a mechanical click echoed as one of the serum vials pulsed, syncing with his heart. His posture stiffened, eyes narrowing, decisions forming without him. Subtle, insidious. "Do you see?" Rumi whispered. He's still himself, mostly, but look at the small gestures, the tightening of his jaw, the way he hesitates on words he used to speak freely. It's already changing him. Whisper hummed low, vibrating with unease. Yup, corruption in progress. Deliciously slow, and inconveniently tragic. Rumi moved closer, careful to stay behind shadowed panels. She traced the conduits leading from the heart device to the steam-powered servers in the corner. Each pulse, each faint mechanical hum was a tether, feeding cleverly, rewriting choices, nudging ethics. The mayor's kindness, his patience, his willingness to listen, all subtly rewritten. He won't survive this if it continues. And if we still the heart without understanding, we kill the man. Whisper rolled onto the edge of the table, tapping a metallic finger on the blueprints. So we're back to the classic. Gather intel, plan carefully, risk nothing except maybe our sanity, and the occasional life or two. Should be fun. Rumi exhaled, eyes scanning the room again. There was a small unmarked lever under the desk, connected to the heart contraption. A failsafe, perhaps. She made a mental note. Every detail counted. The night deepened, fog curling around the mansion, steam hissing from every pipe. Somewhere in the distance, a clock chimed, heavy and industrial. Time was moving faster than the corruption, and Rumi knew that soon the choice between saving a good man and stopping Cleverly's influence would demand action. For now, she collected what she could, mapping, observing, cataloging. The mayor moved through his study, occasionally glancing at the vial, touching his heart device. Every gesture a small step toward the inevitable. Rumi looked at Whisper. We need a way to isolate the heart without harming him, and if possible, undo the contract. Whisper's metallic tone dropped into a low hum, almost contemplative. And here I thought we were just going to be sneaky little thieves tonight. Moral quandaries and industrial Gothic mayhem. My favorite combo. Rumi allowed herself a small smirk. Just another night in Illyria, Whisper. Just another night. The fog thickened around the mansion, curling through the chimneys, whispering secrets. Somewhere, the first seeds of corruption were taking root, and Rumi's next moves would determine whether a good mayor survived or became a puppet of Cleverly.